What's up, everybody? I haven't been posting much because I've been pretty busy actually doing some maintenance and troubleshooting. Not everything goes the way I want it to here. I usually don't post too much about that. I try to sum up the lessons learned and give you that in a nice condensed package versus just like dragging you guys through the whole thing. I'm going to be doing a project today that's something I've already done, and that's an inline fuel pressure gauge. The one that I did before was actually on my fuel line and it was under the hood, but I actually need to have visibility for that inside the car. I'm chasing down an excessive fuel trim issue. Right now I've got like an excess of 20% that the ECU is pulling out on one side and then 14 on the other. I changed from the brand new Hella Math to the Hitachi, which is like the OEM, and I was able to drop that down by like basically get it into a suitable range, which is plus or minus 10%. So that's okay, but still it needs to be much smaller than that. Something like 5 or 7 would be more acceptable. Also found that there was a leak in the intake elbow, so I was pulling unmetered air, so we used a fog machine, little $80 guy off Amazon, and then got some new old stock seals for that intake elbow. That seemed to help things, but now we're going to be adding that inline fuel pressure gauge. So we're going to hop into it, and I think I have a few more parts. Oh, another brand new Bosch fuel pressure regulator, because maybe it's my diaphragm that's leaking a little bit and allowing excessive fuel to get by. So we'll dive in. Sorry, my engine bay looks like absolute garbage right now because I've just left everything exposed and loose while I've been troubleshooting stuff. But if you're going to be dropping in a T, you're going to be using a 3/8 inch barb fitting, and then you'll be using the glow shift kit that I have. The pressure sensor has like a 1/8/17 NPT fitting, so pretty easy to find all that stuff on McMaster, Amazon. And before I start just like taking things apart, I want to make sure that I identify where I'm going to be putting the T, that way it doesn't like interfere with anything. And then I'm also going to be tucking that through my firewall going into the cabin. So I'm going to be splicing in right about here. Here's where my hard line starts. And this, I'm just trying to make sure that it's not at some point where the hose really wants to bend. So right here, and if you need help identifying which is your supply and what is your return, if you just go to your fuel pressure regulator here, follow this guy, it's gonna lead you to the right one. Fuel is gonna be flowing in through this guy, through this diaphragm is gonna open up under vacuum here, and then it's going to allow fuel to go past, go into the driver's side rail, come up through here, travel over to the passenger side, and then from there it will go through the fuel rail and then return through the tank. Before you start cutting into fuel lines, you need to remove pressure. Start up your car for a few seconds, and then when you're ready to, you can pull fuse 28. That'll cut power to your fuel pump, and then within a few seconds the car is going to die on you. After that, give it like 4 turns of the key. Just make sure you alleviate any of the existing fuel / pressure that's in there. Try to send it to the cylinders. Then you can cut it off from there. After that, what you're going to do is what I've done in the past, and that's a series of like blankets or shop towels. I just stick them underneath where I'm going to be cutting. Obviously some iPro and some gloves and stuff. It doesn't get too messy, so you don't have to worry about shit spraying everywhere. But just be diligent about that kind of stuff, and obviously disconnect the battery once you're done running it out of fuel. All right, here is my incision doctor. I just used a new X-Acto blade. Just made a small puncture, relieved the pressure. Nothing even happened. I'd say maybe a total of less than 2 ounces came out of this guy, if that at all. And then you just want to be sure that you're making nice clean cuts so that you're not introducing any sort of like debris into your lines here. Maybe stick a vacuum on there. I'll just use a fine tip on the shop vac and clean that out before I put the T in. And here's the hardware I'm going to be using. I have 2 of these guys. If you're looking for them, it's going to be a 3/8 inch barb male with a female 1/8/27 NPT here. Or it could be male. I don't know. It depends on what your pressure sensor is. Mine's a male here, so I obviously need a female. And this guy, the stainless steel version, opposes aluminum. Not sure which one I'm going to use. It came with these little yellow guys, and just to show the difference in diameter, both of these are supposed to be for 3/8 inch ID fuel line, but you can see this one slides all the way up here, and this one's actually little bit wider on the barbs. So I'm gonna see which one gives me the tighter fit, go with that. And I am going to be installing this before I put this into the fuel line. That way I'm not having to sit there and do this kind of stuff inside the car. Sensor is now on the housing. I'm going to use the stainless steel one. It was a slightly smaller outside diameter that fit better with the 3/8 inch line. It's still going to give me a really tight fit and won't be as much of a struggle. So that's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to do myself a favor and make sure that this harness clip is facing up, so I don't have to want to kill myself when I have to go disconnect it. Biggest help you can give yourself is using a Q-tip with a little lubrication, and not necessarily on the barbs itself, but inside the hose, because if you put it on the barbs, once you start sliding this off, you're just pushing all the grease here. So I'm using something that's going to be fairly gas soluble in here and actually getting in the inside diameter. That way, as the barbs go through, there's going to be continued lubrication until it's fully seated, and then torque that baby down. Got my sensor pointing in the right direction where I'm going to pass it through the firewall. After you got the T in place, pass those wires through your firewall. I'm not sure where I'm going to mount mine yet. It's going to be a temporary situation, so either there or I'll kick something off the A-pillar. I don't know yet, so it's just going to get planted in there for right now. For the wiring instructions, yellow, red, orange are all positive. So basically combine those into one, put them on switch. Yellow is constant. Usually that's for memory. If you do like a specific color for the gauge, I don't think it has any other relevance other than that. And then obviously black is going to go to the ground. And for some reason they made the lead only like 24 inches long, so I had to extend all of mine here, use some heat shrink here, even though these are all the positive going to the switch. I'm just throwing them all on switch power because I'm just trying to do some troubleshooting right now. So if I flip this guy, should be on. Sweet, I just heard it do the needle sweep. Kind of noisy, but whatever. All right, now I'm going to do a throttle body adaptation. If you're a B5 Passat drive-by wire, not drive-by cable, that's measure block 060. You just hit run, or it'll automatically do it. It'll say ADP run, and then it'll say okay. Then you wait 30 seconds, and then after that you can just exit out of that. Your throttle adaptation is done. And if you cycled your power, then you would have reset your fuel trim values. And so now what you would need to do for my scenario is go run the car for about 20 minutes so it can learn the adaptations that it's doing on each bank. And that's basically where we're at. So I'm gonna get this guy stationed up somewhere so it's not just free floating, and we'll go from there. I guess I should also state that my positives and ground are all going to little buses or terminals here. So I've got my negatives up here and my grounds, and then my positives down here, and there's just something right behind this panel so I can have easy access to those. If you want to tap into the fuse box right here, or you can just hop right off the dimmer switch here, it's an easy one to go to. Throttle body adaptation done. Now I'm on measure block 32, and I'm looking at my adaption right now. Everything's zeroed out because I cycled power on this, so 20-minute drive should register some values. Or if you haven't gone long enough, it may error out on you. You just need to drive longer. You should see the idle fluctuating around like 1 point something, and then for the partials or load, you're going to see something that's fluctuating in between, like, I mean, for you guys that are stock, I don't know, probably like 3 to 7 range. I'm a little bit higher as I'm working through some bullshit, but yeah, that's what I'm looking for next. I've got some fire suppression available, and then I also have, I was just spray painting, my fingernails aren't painted. I don't have my suppression nozzles hooked up right now. I pulled them out while I've been doing all the diagnosis. Have that available, and then I've also got my boroscope around the backside so I can really check that. Again, your highest pressure is going to be when you're at idle. Everything's smoothed out, checking for leaks, all good. I'm checking the underside just to make sure there's no leaks with my boroscope. Before I do a test drive, I'm going to do the fuel pressure regulator while I'm at it. It's a 4-bar, it says right there. Either hit your kill switch or pull fuse 28, kill the car, then cycle the key a few times to get rid of pressure. Pull this guy out. This pulls out. From what I understand, it's a little springy, not that it's gonna shoot out, but you're gonna have to use a little clamping force. Just get you some vice grips and just wiggle her back and forth. She'll walk out. All right, she is out, and something that I wish I didn't do was walk it too aggressively. I didn't go nuts, but you can see where it's split now, so this is definitely not reusable, unfortunately. And I like to keep spares on hand, so, well, yeah, that's done. You can see that this is like a little filter screen there. We're gonna toss the other one on in the same orientation. It's gonna be the same for everybody. You're gonna have your nipple going back towards the like 4 o'clock position if this is 12 o'clock. Clean the lip of the housing and make sure you didn't get any debris in here before you place your new fuel pressure regulator in there. You can see that fuel comes out through that center, and then the diaphragm opens up through vacuum, and then they're down on the like 6 o'clock position. That's where it goes through on your driver's side fuel rail. Euro tuning with the new Bosch fuel pressure regulator here, part number 0280160575. I usually take a second to make sure everything dimensionally looks correct before I go jamming the new one in. Got some 92 gas for a little lube on both of these guys, both those green O-rings. Easy, push right into place, just go slow. Nice even pressure. I learned from taking that other guy out that walking it in ruined that filter basket. Slip this guy back through. It goes from the backside or by the driver towards the front. Car is on, things are leveling out. I've got a feeling that these glow shift pressure sensors are not that good. We're probably gonna end up swapping that guy out. Find one that has another 1/8-27 NPT fitting. Yeah, this shouldn't be registering at 20. All right, just out for a little test drive. Checking my fuel pressure. Yeah, I got it. Shift over to the other knee. Oh yeah, we're good. All right, back from a test drive, and things went pretty good for me. Wasn't sure how things would turn out, but I got a win. Thank goodness. I'll show you what I ended up with. Okay, gonna rapid fire some stuff. Went for the test drive, things worked out, although this gauge doesn't read correctly. Under crank, it should be like 53 PSI and drop somewhere in the 40s. I forget, I just looked at the values. And then it should drop in pressure as I'm driving, which it did. However, peak value while under load was like 20 PSI. And then it dropped down to like 10 when I was putting a little more load at like 3K RPM, whatever. Probably get a new unit, probably not glow shift. My original issue was that my fuel on bank 1 was pulling -16% out and -20 on bank 2. And then I removed that Hella branded MAF and went to the just original supplier, which is a Hitachi unit, dropped down to -10 and -14 on bank 2 for fuel. So I was walking it down. From there, I replaced the intake elbow seal because it was just worn and creating a vacuum leak, and so I was getting unmetered air into the car. And then after that, I was down to -3.9 and -10 on bank 2, so almost within range. You could probably pull it off. You want to be under 10% variance there, plus or minus. So then after dropping in the cleaned Hitachi unit, I really wanted to step things in so I could understand what would impact what. After dropping in a cleaned Hitachi unit that was used and replacing the fuel pressure regulator with a brand new 4-bar from Bosch, we're now at bank 1 0 on the adaptation, and then bank 2 is -5%. So things are looking a lot better for me now. I'm back on track, gonna go do a 3rd gear pull, and we'll see if we can't get this fucker going faster.